So let's get this mud panel right here. I'll go ahead and hit the division key on the numpad, and it looks like we've got a solidify modifier on this as well as a mirror. So let's go ahead and apply that solidify, and let's remove the mirror here so we're just dealing with the one side. And I'll also go back to the solid view here, the solid viewport shading. And it looks like we've got our scale applied here. We've got all ones. And so we can just tab into edit mode and select some of these edges all the way around here, let's say, and just mark a seam here. And then maybe we should once again grab these corners like this. Maybe this one too, since we have an angle there. Let's do that here, and one up here. And then let's mark seams there. Now let's select everything, press U and unwrap. And yeah, that looks pretty good. We could go ahead and add the UV test pattern to it and go to look dev, and there it is. All right, let's hit the division key and go back so we can see everything here. And now let's work on this front axle. We've got a few different pieces here, so why don't we select them right in here like this. Let's get all of these and even this axle piece right here. We'll wait to work on the springs here for just a minute. So let's go ahead and hit the division key and isolate those. Now we've got a mirror modifier on one of these. We need to figure out which one it is. It isn't these. It isn't. Is it that? No. That's it there. Okay, so let's go ahead and apply this with clipping turned on. There we go. Now we should be able to go through and combine all of them into one object, so it's just a little bit easier to work with. At least for me, I like to use the Shift-H, Alt-H, hide and unhide while we're isolated here. Now let's go ahead and get rid of these faces here. I don't think we're ever going to see these, so we can get rid of these. In addition, I think we have faces on the bottom of these, so let me press Shift-H and let's take a look here. Yeah, we can get rid of these, which makes our life a little easier when it comes to UV mapping these, because once we get the faces off of here, these really just become tubes. So we can just select these edges, let's say, and these, and let's just mark a seam, and then we've just got tubes that we can open up at one edge and lay out flat. All right, let's press Alt-H to bring these back. Now for this piece, I'll press Shift-H again here. This has faces on either end as well, but I don't think we're ever going to see these, so let's get rid of those. And also, we can then take this edge right here, mark a seam, and that will hopefully open up like a cylinder as well. Yeah. All right, so we've got that. Let's press Alt-H and go back here. Now, this piece here, let's take a look at this. I'll press Shift-H, and we could just go ahead and press Smart UV Project here and see what happens. Let's do that. Smart UV Project. Okay. And that's all right, but it's actually quite a lot of pieces. I'd like to have it a little bit more joined together in the UV map. So maybe what let's do, let's just split it out here so that this is its own piece. Let's do that. And once we do that, we can maybe select just one edge and break that out. So if we take a look at this, let me turn on seam. Let me try that again. I'll press L here. So we just select that and we unwrap this. So that's just one strip there. Now, it looks to me like, yeah, sure enough, we don't have the scale applied. When I unwrapped this, this just looked too thin compared to these here, which made me think that this is non-uniform scale here. So let's just press Control A and apply the scale. And let's try that again, U and unwrap. Well, it's a little bit better. These now here are more proportional to the ends here. All right. We could also maybe select these edges right along here and split this piece out on its own. Let's try that. And now let's just select everything, press U and unwrap. And how we doing? Well, pretty good. I mean, these little edges here are stretched a good bit here. We could maybe split these corners out here like this. Let's try this. And now let's try and unwrap that again. And yeah, that splits that open just a bit. I guess we could also add these here. Let's try that. U and unwrap. Yeah, see, that opens that up just a bit. Back here on the back, we've got some pulling here. Okay, I'll go ahead and add these. U and unwrap. Yeah, so that breaks that open and reduces some of the stretching there. All right. I think that looks a little bit better than what we had with the Smart UV Project. So let's go ahead and go with that. I'll press Alt-H. There we go. Let's go ahead and add that test pattern and take a look at it in LookDev. And it looks to me like this part is stretched a little bit too much. In fact, I think maybe it's because I applied the scale after we UV mapped this part. You can see how these are a little more rectangular. So let's go back real quick and let's just select everything and hit U and unwrap. And there we go. Now we've got them more square. So I just needed to go back and re-UV map that piece after we had applied the scale. All right. So let's hit the division key and go back here. Now let's take a look at these springs here. If I select this right here and hit the division key on the numpad, oh, we get these now. All right. So let's go ahead and remove the mirror modifier for now. I'll go back to solid view. And let's tab into edit mode. And I think for this, we could probably just UV map this whole thing as is. Let me tab into object mode and okay, we do have our scale applied. That's good. So let's just select this one with the L key and hit U and unwrap. What about angle based? Yeah, that looks pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and go with that. Let's just take a look at it real quick. Yeah, I think that'll be fine. All right. For this piece down here, let's grab this and we should probably, I guess we could just split these things out here and here. Okay, let's do that. Mark seam, and we could also select all of these edges right here so that will split open those corners. Let's add this edge right here. We'll add a seam there, and just like the smaller pieces, we will add those corners around the edge to split those out, like that. All right, let's take a look at this. I'll deselect the seam down here. U, unwrap. Looks pretty good. All right, up here, let's select the edge all the way around the bottom here and mark that seam. And then these corners, let's split those out as well. U and unwrap. Okay, that looks good. And now this thing, the coil, the spring. Let's take a look at this. I'm going to press Shift-H. And probably, I would say probably the easiest way for us to do this is just to take an edge right down here. And once we hit Alt and click, that'll select it all the way up to the top. And let's just mark a seam there and give this a try. Let's hit A, U, unwrap. And there we go. So there it is. It's just this very tiny strip right there. But I think that'll be fine. If we bring the others back and then we go to our LookDev here, there we go. You can see this is really big. That square pattern is really big on the mesh here. And that's because it's so small in the 3D view here. So we can, of course, take this and we can scale it up like this so we can see it here. But ultimately, it will be a lot smaller in this 0 to 1 space. So we could select everything. We could select everything here with the A key, go to UV, average island scale, and then pack islands. And you can see now all the squares are pretty much the same size, but everything's all squished down in here. And that's fine. If we wanted to, we could split it halfway along here. We could come in here and maybe select one edge right here and split it so it wouldn't be so long and skinny. We could try that. We could go U and unwrap there. And you can see now it's two of them here and there. So it's however you want to do that. That's fine. All right, I'm going to hit the division key and we'll go back and let's go ahead and mirror this over. Add modifier mirror. And I'll go ahead and apply the mirror because we may be able to see them both at the same time. All right. Well, I think that's pretty good. We've got those pretty well taken care of around the front axle. In the next video, let's go ahead and begin working on the back of the vehicle as well.